I mean, we can talk about it if you want. I'm more than happy to. But I mean, I would say I had gender dysphoria when I was a kid. Right, I didn't feel like one of the boys. And to the point that I even went in therapy, and that therapy actually helped me. That therapy is now a crime in Canada.
That therapy is now illegal. Yeah.
Not just illegal, like you lose your license, you go to jail.
Many would say that the past 3 years here in Canada has been absolutely unprecedented in many different fronts. And the failure of our healthcare system at many different levels is no exception. And I'm going to be talking to Dr. Patrick Phillips today, but the uncensored conversation with Dr. Phillips is going to happen at Speaking Moistly Live. This event is happening April 15th. There's still many tickets available. It's going to be an uncensored roundtable with Dr. Patrick Phillips, Sarah C. from Frontline Nurses, and also Scarlett Martin. It's going to be very exciting, guys. There's still tickets available. You can go to canadapoli.com/event for tickets, and it should be very, very fun. But who joins me right now? The one and only Dr. Patrick Phillips himself. How are you doing this afternoon, sir?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. I know you're dealing with, you got your license taken away, but obviously you're not giving up without a fight. So how is that going? What does this legal battle look like? Are you going to get your license back anytime soon, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's been a long, drawn-out battle over the last few years. I lost my license. It was temporarily suspended pending the full trial on May 3rd of last year. And since then, it's kind of been drawn out. They launched more investigations on me and laid more charges against me. And so I think there's a total of 10 charges, 10 different categories of charges that they've made on me. And so what ended up happening is my lawyer, Michael Alexander, has two other clients, so two other doctors, so Dr. Mark Trozy and Dr. Crystal Lutchkew, who are basically in the same boat as me. I'd say my charges are the most expensive, but a lot of them were the same. So we actually were able to bring a lot of those charges together so that we could fight them as a group.
Nice.
And so we had a few hearings on that where we mostly lost, but we did win on some major things. So we, in the first motion to dismiss, we got an admission from the college that all their restrictions on mask exemptions, vaccine exemptions, off-patent treatments for COVID like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and their restrictions on criticizing public health measures were suggestions only. So the tribunal ruled that, and the college as well admitted that on their own. So what they are saying is that we don't need any of these to be rules or to have any force or effect. We can prosecute you on anything we consider unprofessiongal. So even though they're not a legal law, they're not enforceable on their own, we can enforce whatever we want because all we need to do is declare it unprofessional, and we can take your license and prosecute you.
Wow.
So it's like a kangaroo court. It's basically it's right out of a tyrannical regime of the days of yore, but
yeah, I actually was at the National Citizens Inquiry over the past weekend, which you also were at, which you spoke at, but I got to speak to your lawyer, Michael Alexander, and that's exactly how he was kind of summarizing it for the layman, which is, they came up with these recommendations and guidelines, and they somehow became like the law. Like if you break the law, then there'll be drastic consequences, when in reality it's not a law, it's just a recommendation or a guideline. And that's exciting because something's got to come of this in terms of holding this regulatory body, the College of Physicians, accountable. But you were at the National Citizens Inquiry. What was your experience like there? And what are you hoping is going to be the best case scenario to come of that? Because, the fact that it's the citizens coming together to do this inquiry shows how desperate we are to kind of get some accountability going on in this country. You know, so many of our institutions have failed, including the official opposition parties, right? So what do you think? What was your experience like at NCI, and what do you think is going to be like the best case scenario that's going to come of this?
Yeah, so I think the role of the NCI is kind of like the Public Order Emergency Commission, where the ruling at the end means next to nothing, but the power in it is in people seeing the evidence coming out, people testifying basically under oath. So that I think is what the power is. That I got kind of most of my story out there. So I think that was good. But I also heard the story of other physicians in Nova Scotia who were kind of experiencing the exact same things that I was. Right, the empty emergency departments when they said we were overwhelmed, the horrible adverse effects of the lockdowns, and even major adverse effects of the vaccines as well.
Yeah, and you know, I would love to speak more about that, but unfortunately we can't because we're here on YouTube and Facebook. And again, that is why we're having this roundtable, speaking moistly live about the failing healthcare system. We'll have a longer conversation with Dr. Patrick Phillips. Once again, the link is cdnpoli.com/event. So make sure you go on and check that out so we can talk more earnestly about what is going on in this country. Well, that's the whole reason that we're going to have that event, is so we can speak more openly about the vaccines. I will say I got to talk to some vaccine injured people at the National Citizens Inquiry, which was crazy, absolutely crazy.
There's some devastating stories out there, people's experiences for sure. And it's great that it's coming out, right? That it's becoming more common knowledge, and I'm noticing it. And people around me who aren't even on the same page, but people. It's becoming common knowledge, and I think in Australia now they're no longer offering the AstraZeneca to anybody.
Yeah,
they've taken the market. So that
looks like your camera took a vaccine booster right now. What the hell's going on there?
Okay.
But no, that is exciting. That is exciting, and it is those small wins, right, that are going to add up. And I think it was actually your lawyer, Michael Alexander, who said all we really need is like one judge. All we need is one judge making the right decision that can really make all of the difference. You know, one person in the bureaucratic body, one person, you know, who's pulling the levers of power, one person being brave and making the right decision. But of course, let's bleed this over into some more current events, because this is something that also affects the healthcare system, which is the unescapable growing gender ideology that seems to be affecting every aspect of our lives more and more, whether you're watching a hockey game or whether you're trying to just, you know, be a kid in public school. And most recently, there's this legislation they're trying to pass to say you can't protest direct time story hour. You can't protest. Essentially, they want to help make drag queens the LGBT a protected class. You can't criticize them, which is insane. Yeah. But I mean, let's start with the healthcare. How does this gender ideology affect your work? How has it affected healthcare?
Yeah, so I'm not in the trenches at this point now, but I can tell you that there's a really significant trend that has happened, and I think it comes back to the medical ethics. So what we're seeing in adults is we're seeing informed consent being taken away, that you're no longer allowed to have choices over the medical treatments that you receive, and you're not allowed to be informed about the consequences before consenting.
Right.
What we're seeing in children is the opposite. We are seeing supposedly consent being given to children to make long-term and often permanent medical decisions for themselves without the consent of their parents, right? So children who aren't even able to understand long-term consequences are now able to switch their gender. They're able to consent on their own, even without the permission of their parents, to any medical treatment. That's now the standard in Ontario and actually across the Western world in most places. So that's happening with the gender movement, also with MAID. MAID is coming for children as well, right? And parents don't have to be part of that conversation, which is insane. So that's kind of where this is starting to play into the medical community. The other part of it is, I think it was Bill C4 that was passed in 2021. I think it was December of 2021. That criminalizes, it's ostensibly to criminalize gender therapy. Gender or gay conversion therapy. But what it actually does is also you're not allowed to promote it or even to kind of suggest it in any way. So what that means, is that if a child comes in and says that I think I might be transgender, it's illegal and actually a crime for that doctor to suggest that you're not, maybe you're not, that maybe that this is another problem, like a mental health issue that we should try to work on and see if this desire to become another sex goes away. That's illegal in Canada now. So
it's illegal.
In a sense, if you bring your child who's confused about their gender into a healthcare professional, there's only one thing that they're legally allowed to tell them, which is insane, right? So
which is similar to the vaccines, right? As a doctor, you can't say, hey, maybe you think your kid wants to transition, maybe before doing this irreversible procedures, maybe you should talk to somebody. You can't even, you couldn't even say that anymore. Yeah, that's crazy.
The difference is just that if you don't promote the vaccine, you lose your license. If you don't promote gender therapy, or if you promote them accepting their own body, you go to jail. And that was passed by unanimous consent in Canada. It's a federal law that the Conservatives all voted unanimously for.
That's crazy. And there's so much lies and deceptions and inversions of reality and weird language games around this law as well. First of all, just to call it conversion, we're banning conversion therapy, when in reality, you're almost creating only a one-way street for kids, where it's the only direction you can go is towards flipping your gender. This idea that actually maybe I want to go back the other way. It's no. You started down this path. We are going to affirm. We're going to give you gender affirming care, which again is totally demented the way in which it's presented. Hashtag Lady Gaga born this way. But I am so excited to speak to you more about these different topics and bringing in, of course, a nurse, Sarah from Frontline Nurses, and the paramedic, Scarlett.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a great conversation. And just a reminder for everybody, it is happening April 15th. Tickets are $50. You can go to canadapoli.com/event. And we're going to continue this conversation uncensored with Dr. Patrick Phillips. Thanks again so much for coming on the channel, Patrick. We will talk to you soon.
Yeah, looking forward to next week.
Awesome.